What's up, everyone? So today we're going to be talking about how to size our positions in the stock market. You guys have asked me this very frequently. Questions like, how much should I put into this play? How much should I buy of this stock? What should I do? And I'm going to answer all of that today so you guys can get an understanding of how to play this. So if we're planning on buying stocks for long term, we're going to want to do something called dollar cost averaging or buying the dips. So if we look at something like SPY, which has consistently went up in the period of like forever, it's at a record high right now, we're going to want to consider buying every day, every week, every month, whatever you want to do. And just like you could either just set a time period where it just reinvests into this at a set period of time, or what you can do is you can buy the dips, which is a little bit better in my opinion. So every time it dips down, we buy a little bit more. It dips down, we buy a little more. It dips down, we buy a little more. And then when it starts going up, we make more money. That's a really good strategy for building your long-term investment portfolio rather than just dumping it all in right here because it's going up. Then it crashes down, you lose money on all of those shares. So we don't want to do that. You want to average into it. Another thing to keep note of is if we're looking at something in the short term, like let's say we're looking at Tesla, we're looking at it in the short term and we think, hey, I think Tesla is going to go up, like up $5 or whatever you think it's going to do. You might want to buy your shares now because you're only in it for the short term. You're waiting for it to go up to the price that you want it to before getting out. So if we're not planning on holding it for a long term, we might enter with more position sizing because we're expecting a quick move in our direction in the next few days, few hours, whatever it is. So that's something to consider as well, is know your goals, know your risk level, and figure it out that way. And then what most of you wanted to see probably is options. So you want to know how I size my option shares. So let's say we have the S&P 500, okay? I'm going to put calls for June 18th at 5:48. I'm not actually doing this. Don't copy this. If you guys copy this, there's no hope for you because I'm not making this trade. Let's say I'm willing to risk, let's say I want to risk $2,000 per trade, but the max I'm willing to risk is like $6,000, right? It's probably not the case for most of you, but that's kind of what I want to do. So if I want to have like $2,000 in each trade, what I might start with is, let's say like $500. Now I only start with such a small amount is if this starts to go against me, I'm going to add more at the dips. It's kind of what I talked about with the long-term investments. We buy the dips. So if it starts to go against us into drawdown, we're going to add more and average our cost down. So that means instead of it being 76 cents, it will be, let's say, like 60 because we added more contracts because it dipped. So now our average cost is lower and it only needs to go up a little bit for us to be into profit. Now you can play this even safer. Let's say I go in with $228. It dips down. Now I can afford to add another 10 contracts. So we're adding a lot more contracts, which means we're going to average down even lower. If we start with, let's say we start with 100 contracts and we try to average down with like 5, that's not going to work out. So we got to make sure that we're saving room for us to add. Now, what happens if it goes straight into profit with only $380? So don't be mad. Take your profit. If we make $60 off of $380, that's a good return. Just take it. We might not make what you expected to make, but oh well, profit is profit. Never be mad at it. What you can do on the other hand is if you think it's about to go directly in your space or directly where you want it to go to your price, we can add a little bit heavier. So we can add maybe 1,100 right off the bat. And if it starts to go against us, we can add another 500. If it goes against us even more, we can add another 500 and might consider getting out. And then once it starts to go into profit, we're going to make a lot more money because we have a good position sizing. So that's something to consider too, is how much do you want to save room for in order to average down if things go wrong. I suggest if you're new, start with a very low contract size, maybe just one contract. Save room so you guys can just add another contract here and there at the dips and learn how to average down, learn how it works, and play it that way. So that's kind of how I size my options contracts. And then it's kind of the same thing. Crypto is kind of the same thing that I do with options. We just buy the dips. Bitcoin's an amazing one that I'm in right now. Jesus. Bitcoin's an amazing one that I'm in right now. Just been buying the dips. Our average cost is 64,000. And we're just going to be holding it for the long term, adding more periodically. That's pretty much all I have for how to size your positions. If you guys have any questions, please ask in the comments or join the Discord server where I post all of my trades live with every single change I make, all the strike prices, my average contract, when I trim, when I add. You can learn from that too, even if you don't plan on watching my trades. Join the Discord, like the video, subscribe. I do all this for free for you guys. That's all I ask. As always, remember, risk management is everything. Have a great day, guys. I will see you in the next